Many thanks for joining us on the newsroom again. I am Annetta Felix. As Nigerians begin the second phase of the ease lockdown, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has been highlighting guidelines that will characterize the 4-week period. National Coordinator for the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Sani Aliyu, at a press conference in Abuja said one of the key highlights is the complete reopening of the financial sector. He also said the nationwide lockdown will now be between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m., but noted that the ban on interstate travel will remain in place.
Hotels may reopen, but must observe all mandatory non-pharmaceutical interventions. Restaurants other than those in hotels must remain closed for eat-ins, but are allowed to prioritize and continue practicing the takeaway system. Bars, gyms, cinemas, and nightclubs are closed until further evaluation. We will continue to support the agricultural sector to ensure food security for our citizens, and in this regard, farmers are requested to please go ahead with their normal activities provided they observe all mandatory non-pharmaceutical interventions. Schools. All schools to remain closed until further evaluation. The Federal Ministry of Education is instructed to work with schools to start the process of preparing students that require exiting exams, i.e. certifying students, to allow them to take exams in the next phase, early in the next phase of the lifting of the lockdown. But for the moment, schools are to remain closed. I have already mentioned places of worship. Restricted opening will apply subject to the guidelines issued by the PTF as well as the protocols agreed by respective state governments working with religious leaders.
Kano state residents will now be allowed to resume market operations, religious gatherings and other businesses following the easing of the total lockdown imposed on the state by President Muhammadu Buhari. These movements and operations are, however, limited to Sundays, Wednesdays and Fridays from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The state governor, Abdullahi Ganduje, in fresh guidelines and established protocols issued by his government on Monday, said he arrived at the decision after critical review and consultations with public health professionals. Ganduje has also summoned an emergency meeting with market leaders on how to ensure strict observance of safety and prevention protocols in markets and business places in the state. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki says his administration has adopted measures to contain the COVID-19 outbreak in the state. Briefing journalists after a meeting with President Buhari in Abuja, Obaseki said Edo is likely to reach its peak in the 3rd week of June. He also announced that his government has also increased its testing capacity, which is behind the emergence of new cases.
We've enjoyed a very good relationship with the PTF. We've gotten a lot of support from NCDC. Don't forget, we have the IRWA Specialist Teaching Hospital, which is a center for infectious diseases in Edo. And what we've done as a government is that we have leveraged those resources, the federal resources in the state. So with IRWA Specialist Teaching Hospital, with the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, with the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, we've been able to pull high-caliber medical personnel as part of our COVID-19 response team within Edo State. And we meet every day to review all aspects of our responses. And we're not being taken unawares, because from the very beginning, we're one of the few states who did our own epidemiological survey. So we have an epidemiological model which told us upfront how the virus was going to progress and when it will peak. That model told us that it will peak in Edo by the 3rd week in June, specifically June 28th. We have screened 300,000 of our citizens today. Our goal is to screen 10% of our population, which is of 500,000. and test a minimum of 5,000. Today we have tested about 2,000. We have 3,000 to go. And the more tests we do, the more we see incidents.
News Now will be right back after this break.
Shegun.
Alpha, say tomorrow still day on.
What's your tomorrow?
Community meeting now.
You know they hear Abi?
Now beggy. See, if we meet for my house, inside parlor, then go no.
This COVID-19 is not a child's play. If we want to elect a new secretary, we fit to do one for WhatsApp, or for Skype, or even on Zoom. Or we just wait. I will not negotiate this social distancing. It is non-negotiable.
Not every infected person shows symptoms, but every infected person is contagious. Avoid large gatherings and self-isolate if you think you might have come in contact with a carrier. Your safety and the safety of others is in your hands.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur.
Nigeria Police Force have arrested the suspects linked to the murder of Vera Omozua, a Uniben undergraduate. The arrest by the spokesman of the Edo Police Command, Chidu Nwabuzo. He said the suspect was arrested after the fingerprint on the fire extinguisher she was attacked with was examined. Omozua was attacked while studying inside the Church of the Redeemed Christian Church of God in Benin City. She died 3 days later at the hospital. A federal high court sitting in Lagos has ordered the Nigerian Correctional Services to immediately release a former governor of Abia State, Senator Orji Uzor Kalu. Kalu is in the Kuje Correctional Service Center following his conviction last December for looting 7.65 billion naira belonging to Abia State. Justice Muhammad Liman granted the lawmaker's application for release moved by his counsel Lateef Fagbemi. The judge made the order after he received no opposition to Kalu's application by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The Supreme Court had last month nullified Kalu's conviction on grounds that the judge lacks the jurisdiction to hear the matter. Let's take a break here and bring you up to speed with the latest in business. Do stay with us. Nigeria's budget deficit has risen from 1.847 trillion naira to 4.563 trillion. The deficit figure captured in the original 2020 budget before its downward review was 1.847 trillion naira. It has gone up 4.563 trillion in the revised appropriation, now awaiting National Assembly consideration and approval. Director General of the Debt Management Office, Patience Oniha, dropped the hints during her presentation before the Senate Committee on Foreign and Local Debt, considering President Muhammadu Buhari's 5.513 billion naira external loan request. Oniha said that the revised 2020 budget proposal is 10.509 trillion naira with a deficit of 4.563 trillion. She said the deficit would be financed through domestic borrowing of 2.118 trillion and external borrowing of 1.984 trillion naira, making a total of 4.173.560 trillion naira. The World Health Organization has pledged to support the Congolese government in tackling the resurgence of the Ebola virus in the country. This follows the emergence of 6 new cases, 4 of who have died in the Mbandaka area of the country.
As we work with governments across the world to suppress the virus and accelerate science around diagnostics, therapeutics, and vaccines, we also continue to respond to other health emergencies and new disease outbreaks. The government of the Democratic Republic of the Congo announced today that a new outbreak of Ebola virus disease has been detected near the city of Mbandaka in Equator province. The announcement follows a complex Ebola outbreak in eastern DRC, which seems to be in its final phase. The new one is on the other side of DRC, western DRC. WHO will continue supporting DRC in tackling Ebola as well as responding to COVID-19 and the world's largest measles outbreak.
The president of the Nigeria Football Federation, Amaju Pinnick, says Gernot Rohr remains the best man for the Super Eagles and deserves to keep his job. Rohr signed a new 2-year deal with the Nigeria Football Federation last week, which will see him finish as the longest-serving coach in Super Eagles history by the end of his tenure in 2023. While speaking with journalists on social media on Monday, Pinnick said the Franco-German earned his new deal. Rohr, who's been in charge of the Super Eagles since 2016 August, has been given a brief of leading Nigeria to qualification for the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar and chasing a 4th Africa Cup of Nations title win in 2021. And that's it on the newsroom at 2 p.m. Thank you for watching.